Hello everyone. This video presents a notable event that happened on each day from the past week in history. On June 16, 1811, the remaining crew of an American armed fur trading ship purposely blew the ship up after it had been overrun by Native Americans near Vancouver Island. The wilds of western North America were dangerous in 1811, and the Tonquin, a three-masted ship about 94 feet long, was armed with 22 guns. Owned by fur tycoon John Jacob Astor, Tonquin had been in the Pacific seeking to trade with Native Americans for furs. After establishing Fort Astoria in Oregon, Tonquin sailed for Vancouver Island, where a dispute with the Twa-o-Kiat people resulted in the ship being overrun and most of the crew killed. With only 4 crew members alive, the men decided to blow up the powder magazine and with it the ship. Only a Native American interpreter survived to return to Fort Astoria. On June 17, 2021, President Biden signed the law that made Juneteenth, the 19th day of June each year, a national holiday, the first designated as such since Martin Luther King Jr. Day in 1983. The origin of the Juneteenth holiday dates back to June 19, 1865, when Union Army Major General Gordon Granger pronounced that all previously enslaved people in Texas were now emancipated. The proclamation by General Granger was among the last events in the process of the freeing of slaves in the United States, and African Americans have celebrated this date since 1866. Enthusiasm for celebrating Juneteenth grew in the African American community during the early and mid-20th century, at least in the South, but the special date caught on in the North with the migration of African Americans to the northern states. On June 18, 2023, we celebrate National Turkey Lovers Day, and yes, we too love turkey. Americans are accustomed to having turkey on Thanksgiving and often on other holidays when a feast is the order of the day, but turkey is great anytime, whether it is deep-fried, roasted, baked, fricasseed, made into lunch meat, breakfast sausage, hot dogs, ground meat, or whatever. A native bird of North America, the turkey has gone from a wily and tough wild customer dating back 20 million years to our more familiar domesticated variety that the president pardons every year before Thanksgiving. Turkeys have been domesticated as far back as 200 BC by Native Americans and were introduced to Europe as part of the Columbian Exchange. So revered are turkeys that a major whiskey brand is called Wild Turkey, and the feat of getting 3 strikes in a row while bowling is called a turkey. On June 19, 1960, the first auto race under the NASCAR banner was run at Charlotte Motor Speedway in North Carolina. NASCAR is the premier stock car racing circuit in the U.S. and the world, as its official name, National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, implies. While Europe was the venue of many prestigious stock car races early in the 20th century, the U.S. took the lead on the sport with the emergence of Daytona Beach as a mecca for fast drivers. While originally using actual production model cars, hence the name of the sport, but in 1966 the sport changed to use purpose-built race cars with an outward resemblance to stock cars. NASCAR evolved from the hot rods used by bootleggers in order to outrun pursuing police vehicles and has grown to become the sport with the highest average attendance in the U.S., though with only 36 annual events. On June 20th, 1787, Connecticut attorney and a founding father of the United States, Oliver Ellsworth, made a motion at the Federal Convention to call the government of our new country the United States of America. While not an everyday name taught to schoolchildren as a major founding father, Ellsworth is notable for serving as a senator from Connecticut, being a framer of the Constitution, serving as the 3rd Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, and even winning 11 electoral votes in the presidential election of 1796. A patriot that served in the Continental Congress during the American Revolutionary War, Ellsworth was born in Windsor, Connecticut, in 1745 and died in the same city in 1807. He was educated at Yale College and the College of New Jersey, which became Princeton. Who is your favorite founding father? On June 21st, 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court handed down a decision in Miller v. California establishing a way to determine if something is free speech guaranteed by the First Amendment or if it is obscene. Referred to as the Miller test, SCOTUS determined that three factors must be present for some sort of expression to be considered obscene and not covered under free speech. These three factors are whether the average person applying contemporary community standards would find that the work taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest, whether the work depicts or describes in a patently offensive way sexual conduct or excretory functions specifically defined by applicable state law, whether the work taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. On June 22, 1918, a passenger train carrying U.S. military troops plowed into the rear end of the Hagenbeck-Wallace circus train that had stopped on the tracks for repairs. Sadly, 86 of the over 250 circus people died and 127 were injured, making the Hammond Circus train wreck one of the worst in U.S. railroad history. The name of the wreck derives from the location near Hammond, Indiana. The driver of the troop train had fallen asleep and missed at least 2 warnings about the stopped train ahead. Luckily, the relatively fragile wooden circus cars were partly unoccupied at the time of the wreck when the oncoming locomotive hit the circus train caboose at 35 miles per hour. As a question for my students and subscribers, have you ever traveled by train? If so, did you enjoy the ride? As a question for my students and subscribers, which event from this past week in history would you most like to learn more about? Please let me know in the comment section below this video. If you liked this video and would like to receive notification of new videos, please feel welcome to subscribe to History and Headlines and become one of our patrons. Your viewership is much appreciated. For image, audio, and other credits and attributions for components of the individual videos in this compilation, please see the descriptions of their respective videos, which are linked to in this video's description.